All right, now let's get to this location right here where we've got these kind of two spots, plus we've got these spaces in here. Let's start with the easier one here. And if we look at these on the design drawings, if we look at these on the structural drawings, saying 10S2210, 10 on S210 is this section. So what you can see is they've got this 1 to 6 inch, or sorry, 1 to 6 uh, slope of this beam here. But what they also have is they're showing uh, a kind of, a thickened area while that happens. The problem is that we don't actually know how wide this is supposed to be. It doesn't say it on the drawings here. We don't have any real information about that. So we're going to have to go through and make a guess. So if we know, if we can go through and we can use the calibrate tool. This is calibrate. We can say, okay, come here, measure this. That's 1 foot O. And then if we do a measurement, M, can measure from here to about here. And it looks like it's, we don't know, 1 foot 8. Why not? Let's round it to the nearest inch since they don't actually tell us what that is supposed to be. Okay. So what we're going to do here is let's go ahead and cut a section in here. So theoretically, what we want this to look like is we want this to come here, say that it's 1 foot 8, and then we want to come, so we're coming up, what, 5 inches? And so if we're doing 1 to 6, it means we want to go 30 inches, come there, and then we have something that kind of looks like this section here. Now, I don't know why that one says, that one's 5 inches. Okay, that's fine. No matter what, no big deal. Let's make this 5 inches though, exactly. 0-5. Okay. And then this is 30 inches long, 30 inches is this, just so that we're safe here. Okay. So now what we can do is we can come in and we can do a model in place component. And let's call this essentially we need to pick the category of the family, and we can say, okay, this is a floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an extrusion, and the extrusion can be in any plane. I don't know, what grid is this nearby? This would be nearby to grid 1.5. All right, so let's specify grid 1.5. So now we can draw this in line here. All right. Now it looks like this is 1 foot 8 and 11, 256. So let's just make this 1 foot 8. Okay, let's pull this up a bit. Make this 1 foot 8 so it's not attaching to it. And then we're going to take this. Now that should be correct. We want to pick a material on here, and the material that we're going to choose is going to be concrete cast in place. Doesn't really matter which one of those. Okay. And so now you can see that we modeled this, but it's not showing up in here. And that's because we set this at grid 1.5. But if we go back to our plan here, now this is showing up in here. And if I pull this back now, you can see, hey, that's showing up there, which is great. This is what we want. Now, since these extend to these, like the entirety of these areas, let's go ahead and pull this one all the way over here. And we'll pull it all the way to this, maybe about this point here. Something like that. Okay. So now we can see that this is showing up in here, and it's showing up like something like that right there, which is exactly what we want to see. Now let's make sure that this looks exactly like our section here. And I think we're good. This is not going to be as deep as the these ones right here. So let's go ahead and join this to this one, and we can join that one to that one, and we'll join this to that one as well. Looks a bit strange. Maybe if we switch the join order, how does it look? Again, apologies for any background noise. There are I have dogs crawling on me at the moment, so apologies for that. Well, I think this will be okay. And it probably makes enough sense. Though, let's see, if we unjoin these things, how does it look? You know, honestly, that's a bit clearer, isn't it? So let's just do that. That's a little bit more obvious rather than trying to deal with all these sorts of things, but this needs to come back and join there. I think that's clear, and let's just leave it like that. Simpler lines. We don't have to worry about things going at angles and everything like that. So let's leave it like that. Now we need to do the same thing, but for these other ones here. And the thing that we have to remember is that it's different for each area here. Oh, looks like I can't copy it. So let's do this. I'm going to bring this over here. Now we can see this, but we can see that it's wrong. It's not correct. But we also need to remember that in this detail, right, in the detail for this one, 11.210, that we have this kind of, it looks like a rib right here as well. So let's get that rib there first. And we also know that that rib is supposed to be, oh, it doesn't say it there on architecture. I think it says it's supposed to be 6 inches down from the top. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to copy one of these ribs up just because I'm feeling a little bit lazy. Okay, so that rib is going to come right here. And then it needs to come up to, if we draw a line here, right? And then we say we're going to come down 22 inches from this, right? If we remember that the 22 inches is the specification on the structural plan, or 21 inches, excuse me, 21 inches is specification on the structural plan. So we want this to be 21 inches. And so that's going to be the bottom of our rib. So that's going to come there. That comes there. But then we need this to come down 6 inches from the top there. So now we've got that there, right? And what we can do is we can extend this thing out so that believe that if we look at the detail here, the angle is going to be right at the, like there's no, that, you know, that 1'8" dimension that we had before. We're not going to have that here. And the other thing that I'm noticing is that this is supposed to be 1'4" thick. So let's see here. We can see that it's measuring from this outside face. So if it's 1'4", we make it like that. That looks like it's going to be correct. And then what we want is this one to come down to that point. So what we can do is we can extend this down. It's still not exactly correct. We actually want to delete that and have this. Actually, we want to have it come over just like that. So actually what this is going to look like is something more like that one right there. So now if I go through and join all these things together, Don't want to. There we go. Now this is starting to look a little bit more correct. You can see we've got our that there. We've got our thickened slab here. Let's just make sure that I got that correct. Yeah, that looks to be correct. And then we need to come in and we need to extend this down to that. And then best guess, maybe extending this here. For some reason, it looks like this curb has extended out because I think it's attaching to a wall. So we want to make sure that the curbs are not extending past either. So let's disallow the join, pull those curbs there. All right. And then last but not least, we have one more of these to do. Oh, that's right. It doesn't like when we try and do that. And then we'll take one of these and extend it over like this. Put one right there. So let's take a look at this now. All right. So let's go ahead and delete all of these lines. And on this one, I believe if we look at architectural, this is supposed to be 4-inch steps. So I'll come down 4 inches. And then we want from here, we want this to be 2'1". That goes there. And it says base offset minus 2'8" and 189, 256, which seems kind of strange. -8. So let's make this -2'9". Let's check that on the other one as well. It says 2'8" and 1. Let's make this as, what is this one here? This is 1'0". So let's make the bottom 2'1" below 1'0", which would be 3'1". So the reason that I'm doing that is I'm essentially trying to say, yes, we're trying to go down 2'1" from here, but let's round down to the nearest inch, and we'll get it, or at least to the nearest 1/4 inch or something like that. So now we can bring this back over here. We can say this is our point that we care about. But it was acting weird again. Remember, if you remember, so this is 8 and 13.5. So what we want this to be is the bottom of this to be 8 plus 13.5, which would be 21.5 inches. If I did my math right, I think I did. So all I'm going to do here then is, now that I know where that's supposed to be, I'm going to take this line, I'm going to move it up. And then we will join these things together again. I think that should be correct. If we look at this shaded, looks a little weird. I think it's probably okay. And let's go ahead and delete all of our lines again. Okay. So let's go back in here, and I just want to make sure that this is at least 2'1", 2'1", and plus a little bit extra, and that's fine. And see, that's okay. All right. So I must have made an error there, or no, you know what? My error is here. It's not supposed to be 2'1". It's supposed to be 21 inches. All right, there it is. That's the error. So 2'4" and 189, 256. Let's say -2'5". And then if we come back over here, I'm gonna say no, not 2'1", 21. There, and we'll go down to 2'9". Much better. All right, and again, let's pull this over. And I think that will do it. Looks like it, right? Looks like it's okay. And that this is about 4 inches. That's about a little less than 4 inches, but it's fine. I don't know why. Let's see here. It says it's 3 foot. I don't know why it wants to do that. It's because this is supposed to be 4 inches. There it is. That's right. If you remember, we modeled these slabs so that they would be sloping from that point. Looks like this needs to be pulled over farther. Pull it over there. Maybe pull that there. And it looks like we're probably set to go on that. So now we've got all of these areas modeled. I think we have everything modeled that we need. And we will go ahead and start setting up our sheets.